We are the Gujarat Technological University. Since its inception over a decade ago, GTU has been empowering young and curating minds to realize their true potential. Over 4 lakh inspired students are enrolled with one of the premier academic universities in India. With more than 450 affiliated colleges in its fold operating across 5 zones of the state, GTU, the International Innovative University, your place to move forward.
Hello everyone. So we will start the topic with the corticosteroids. First of all, we'll go through the introduction part of what is endocrine system. Basically, endocrine system consists of the glands which secretes the hormones that are essential for the maintenance of homeostasis, right? Basically, there are 2 types of glands in our body, exocrine and endocrine gland. Exocrine gland are the duct are having the ducts through which the secretions are poured externally via the usage of ducts. Basically, the glands which are associated with the exocrine gland are the salivary glands, lacrimal glands, and the gastric glands. Whereas the endocrine glands are the ductless glands. They do not need any ducts through which the secretions must be poured. So basically, their secretions, they are directly being poured into the bloodstream. The endocrine system plays a major role in communicating with the nervous system, and there are various glands that are associated with endocrine gland. Today we'll be discussing about the adrenal gland. Basically, the adrenal glands are also known as the suprarenal gland, and they are present or situated at the top of the kidney, like they fit like a cap on each of the kidney. Basically, right adrenal gland and the left adrenal gland. Structurally as well as functionally, the adrenal gland is divided into 2 parts, that is the cortex and the medulla. Cortex region generally consists of 3 layers, and it basically are zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata, and the zona reticulata. So cortex regions generally produce the steroids that are glucocorticoids. Example includes cortisol. Mineralocorticoids, example includes aldosterons, and the sex steroids, basically that are androgens or testosterone. So we'll start with the introduction part. The adrenal cortex secretes the steroidal hormones which have glucocorticoid, mineralocorticoid, and weakly androgenic activities. Now, first thing which comes in our mind is what is the corticosteroids? Basically, steroids are the nuclear consisting of nuclear products. So it is a corticosteroids are hormones that are basically produced in the cortex of the adrenal gland, and these are the 3 main hormones that are being produced by the adrenal cortex region. Cortisol, that is the major glucocorticoid hormone, and the aldosterone, that is the mineralocorticoid drug. So term corticosteroid and corticoid includes the natural glucocorticoids and mineralocorticoids and their synthetic analogs. First of all, we'll seeing with the biosynthesis, transport, and metabolism of adrenocortical hormones. So here it is cholesterol part. Cholesterol, it is the major precursor of all the steroid hormones. It is formed from the acetate, and cholesterol, under the influence of ACTH, that is adrenocorticotropic hormone, it gets converted into pregnenolone. Pregnenolone, after the hydroxylation and cleavage process, it gets converted into progesterone. It may also get converted into the hydroxypregnenolone by the enzyme 17-alpha hydroxylase. Now this progesterone, from this progesterone, it will get converted into 11-deoxycorticosterone and corticosterone. Further, it is get converted into aldosterone hormone. So the other pathway, that is 17-hydroxypregnenolone, gets converted into 17-hydroxyprogesterone and further into cortisol, that is the main glucocorticoid in human blood. It also gets converted into the sex steroids, that are androgens and the estrogens. So corticosteroids, it is a hormone that is produced in the cortex of adrenal gland. These includes the glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids and androgens. Cortisol, that is a major glucocorticoid, and aldosterone, that is a major mineralocorticoid. ACTH, that is adrenocorticotropic hormone, generally controls the secretion of adrenal cortex region. Corticoids, that is a combination of glucocorticoids and mineralocorticoids. Some of the chemistry points include, it consists of 21 carbon containing compounds and have the steroid nucleus. Circulating corticosteroids basically causes inhibition of ACTH, that is adrenocorticotropic hormone, and the CRF production, that is corticotropin releasing factor, or it may also be known as corticotropin releasing hormone. Basically, it includes the negative feedback mechanism. Negative feedback mechanism is generally when there is a rise in the hormone level. It helps in the process, that is inhibition of the particular endocrine gland in response to increase in the hormonal level. That basically describes the negative feedback mechanism. Although the anterior pituitary gland controls other endocrine glands also, and basically it is almost controlled by the region of the brain, that is hypothalamus region. So we'll see about the regulation of hormones. When there is stress induced in our body, it basically sends signal to the hypothalamus region, where there is a releasing factor produced, that is corticotropin releasing factor. Basically, hypothalamus controls two factors, that is the releasing factor and the inhibitory factor, that is it produces releasing hormones and the inhibitory hormones. So here it produces the corticotropin releasing factor, which sends signal to the further anterior pituitary gland, where there is production of ACTH, that is adrenocorticotropic hormone, and it signifies the signals to the adrenal cortex, where glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids and androgens are being produced. These now enters into the bloodstream and synthesize the hormone level. Now when there is increase in the production of hormone level, that is this word signifies that it enters the bloodstream, that is the endocrine word. Endocrine gland is basically having the ductless gland, so they directly pour the secretions into the blood, right? So when there is a release of these hormones into the bloodstream, it causes increase in the hormone level, and for causing the inhibition of such hormones, these hormones sends the signal to the hypothalamus and the anterior pituitary gland via the negative feedback mechanism. As we have seen that what is negative feedback mechanism, there is increase in the rise of the hormone level, and so when there is production of CRF, that is corticotropin releasing factor, that is produced from the hypothalamus. Now this hormone, when there is less secretion of this releasing hormone, it will further cause less production of ACTH hormone, and further the process will cause inhibition of the particular endocrine gland hormone. So this is the basic regulation of hormone system associated with the adrenal gland. Now we're starting up with the glucocorticoids and mineralocorticoids. So glucocorticoid generally passes the effects on carbohydrate, protein and fat metabolism, and it also is associated with the other actions that are inseparably linked to this. Mineralocorticoids have the effects on sodium, potassium and fluid balance. Accordingly, the compounds are labeled as glucocorticoid or mineralocorticoid. Now, corticosteroids are basically classified as glucocorticoids and mineralocorticoids. Glucocorticoids are basically classified under short acting, intermediate acting, and the long acting. Short acting generally consists of hydrocortisone or cortisol. Intermediate acting consists of the prednisolone, methylprednisolone. Longer acting glucocorticoids include dexamethasone and betamethasone. Mineralocorticoids are further having the examples that is fludrocortisone and aldosterone. Now, glucocorticoids that basically produce the effect by activating the glucocorticoid receptor. They are basically the nuclear receptor, but in an inactivated state when found in cytoplasm. That is, they get activated when they enter into the cell, and inside the cell, it particularly enters into the nucleus. Later, they come into the activated state, whereas in activated state it is found to be in cytoplasm. Glucocorticoid receptors have specific three domains, that is the glucocorticoid binding domain, DNA binding domain, and the transcription binding domain. Now the mechanism we can see, that is the steroid molecule or the cortisol, when gets bind with the receptor present in the cytoplasm, that is, it enters into the cell through the simple diffusion, and it get bind to the receptor which is present into the cytoplasm region. It forms a drug receptor complex and moves to the nucleus inside the cell, where they interact with the glucocorticoid response element and alters the synthesis of mRNA. Now we have seen that there are three specific domains. So in the nucleus there is presence of DNA, and DNA, it gets bind to the DNA binding domain and alters the synthesis of the mRNA, and it directs the protein synthesis. Further, it gives a biological action, or it gives a cellular effect or a biological response to a particular organ or in our body. So we'll be discussing about the pharmacological actions that are associated with the glucocorticoids. So there are several pharmacological actions that are associated with glucocorticoids. So starting up with the metabolic effects, it generally affects the metabolism of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, electrolytes, water, and calcium. Starting up with the carbohydrate metabolism, glucocorticoids generally produces main actions on the carbohydrates metabolism, and hence are called glucocorticoids. Generally, it produces insulin-like or as well as anti-insulin effects. Like insulin, they stimulate the formation of the glycogen in liver and muscles, and increases the gluconeogenesis, that is production of sugar molecule in liver, especially of proteins. However, unlike insulin, they depress the glucose uptake and its oxidation by tissues. Glucocorticoids generally helps in absorption of sugar from the intestine and from renal tubules. When there is excess of the glucocorticoids, it causes glycosuria and hyperglycemia. Protein metabolism, it decreases the proteins in cells by decreasing the synthesis of proteins by inhibition of RNA formation. They also accelerate the protein catabolism and causes release of amino acids from the tissue. Fat metabolism, it stimulates the fat absorption from the intestine and mobilize fat from the depot and disintegrate to form a ketone bodies. Now it causes mobilization of fatty acids and causes increased level of fatty acids in blood. When there is increase in the utilization of fat for the energy, it causes decrease in the utilization of glucose. Excess of cortisol in our body causes redistribution of fat in the body and causes hyperlipidemia, that is increase in the level of lipids. They also depress the synthesis of fat from the carbohydrates. Mineral metabolism, it enhances the retention of sodium and the calcium ions and increases the excretion of potassium, but the effect is less potent than the mineralocorticoids. In presence of water metabolism, it maintains water balance. On the effect on muscles, it causes or it increases the release of amino acids from the muscles. Hypersecretion causes muscle weakness due to negative nitrogen balance. Further effect on blood cells, it causes decrease in the number of RBCs, basophils, lymphocytes, and increases number of neutrophils, RBCs, and platelets. Effect on resistance to stress. Exposure to any type of stress, it causes excessive secretion of ACTH, as we have seen this in the regulation of hormone, which in turn increases the glucocorticoid level in blood. So this gives resistance to stress due to the following reasons, that is immediate release of amino acids and synthesis of new proteins. Fatty acids released are important for supply of more energy and enhances the vascular reactivity to catecholamines. For blood and cardiovascular system, it produces the anti-lymphocytic and anti-eosinophilic action. Hypotension is found in deficiency of adrenal cortex and corrected after administration of cortisol. The anti-inflammatory effects produced by the glucocorticoids includes it causes inhibition of release of proteolytic enzymes which are responsible for the inflammation cause. It helps to prevent release of substance like histamine. It also causes reduction in permeability of capillaries, inhibition of migration of leukocytes into the affected area, and the suppression of T cells. The anti-allergic actions and the immunosuppressive actions are, it helps in suppressing the lymphoid tissue and decreases the number of circulating T lymphocytes. The effects on CNS, the patients having the Addison's disease shows the symptoms like depression, irritability, sometimes psychosis. These all symptoms or these all the adverse effects are corrected by the administration of glucocorticoid. Patients on the large doses of glucocorticoids may cause elevation, euphoria, nervousness, restlessness, depression, and even psychosis. These all are considered as irreversible. The adverse effects that are associated with glucocorticoids includes, in the presence of gastrointestinal tract, it causes acute erosive gastritis with hemorrhage during the intensive therapy administration. Peptic ulceration may be troublesome during prolonged therapy. Intestinal perforation and pancreatitis are the other reported GI complications. The hypercortisolism, it is present in case of endocrine system. Presence of increased level of cortisol in the endocrine system. Metabolic effects generally includes ketoacidosis and non-ketotic. Hyperglycemia, that is increased level of sugar in our body, and hyperlipidemia and hypophosphatemia are also the adverse effects associated with it. Prolonged therapy also causes a central obesity with moon face and buffalo hump. Pink fluoride stria appear on the abdomen, hips, and pectoral regions, and the skin may become friable. Cushing coedism is also the adverse effect that is associated with glucocorticoid. This is the main adverse effect that has been associated with glucocorticoids. Suppression of inflammation and immune responses. There is serious illness caused due to glucocorticoids. Acute peritonitis, superinfections also caused due to the administration of certain antibiotics. Retardation of linear growth, cardiovascular and renal system, hypertension, salt and water retention, and rarely hypokalemic alkalosis can also occur. CNS, it influences mood, sleep patterns, and EEG activity. Patients also complain of insomnia. Acute psychotic reactions may also occur. For eyes, it causes glaucoma and posterior subcapsular cataract during the long-term systemic use. Therapeutic uses generally consist of two therapy, that is the replacement therapy and the pharmacological therapy. Replacement therapy is used in the management of adrenocortical, that is insufficiency arising from the adrenal disease, that is Addison's disease, or hypopituitarism. It may be in the form of acute or chronic. When it is in the form of chronic adrenal insufficiency, hydrocortisone with its moderate salt retaining property is preferred. Prednisolone in equivalent doses can also be used. Once the patient is being regulated on hydrocortisone, addition of 9-alpha fluorohydrocortisone, that is at the dose of 0.1 to 0.2 mg daily, helps to complete the replacement therapy. In case of acute adrenal insufficiency, hydrocortisone hemisuccinate by the IV infusion is preferred. Dextrose and normal saline in adequate amounts is also preferred. Vasopressor drugs, that is to maintain the blood pressure, is also being used, and the antibiotics are also being used. The pharmacological therapy generally includes the pulse therapy and the intensive short-term therapy. Methylprednisolone in the form of IV at the dose of 150 to 300 mg is generally preferred for 3 consecutive days, and it is generally useful in threatened acute rejection of renal graft. Some form of similar IV doses for 3 to 5 days of methylprednisolone can also be given for the multiple sclerosis. Higher doses of oral prednisolone is probably effective. The drug is also used in combination with immunosuppressive and immunomodulatory drugs. Intensive short-term therapy generally includes the glucocorticoids that are used as adjuncts, which is effective in preventing or minimizing the long-term sequelae such as deafness of acute bacterial meningitis, that is inflammation of meninges present in our brain. Larger doses such as 100 to 200 mg of prednisolone per day may be used, but therapy with such doses lasts longer than 48 to 72 hours, and for that reason it causes several adverse effects. For that, we have to use other antibiotics or some immunomodulatory drugs. So, starting off with the mineralocorticoids and the pharmacological actions that are associated with the aldosterone. So, aldosterone and the desoxycorticosterone are the important natural mineralocorticoids. The physiological and the pharmacological actions of aldosterone basically includes the electrolyte and the water metabolism. Now, the electrolyte and the water metabolism consist of the effect on various sodium ions, various potassium ions, hydrogen ions, and on the extracellular fluid volume, right? So, when there is effect on the sodium ions, it causes the increase in the resorption or the absorption of the sodium by generally acting on the distal convoluted tubule and the collecting duct, that is the part present in the nephron region. And as you know that nephron is the structural and functional unit of kidney, right? So when there is a resorption of the sodium by the aldosterone, it is produced from the sweat glands and the salivary glands and conserve the salt. So it greatly enhances the production of sodium in the intestine and prevents the loss of sodium along with the stools. The other is the effect of the potassium ions. It causes the excretion of the potassium generally through the renal tubules. And when there is the effect on the hydrogen ions, it causes the aldosterone to increase the sodium ion resorption in the renal tubule and causes the tubular secretion of the hydrogen ions. That reduces the further hydrogen ion concentration inside the extracellular fluid. And under the normal conditions, the aldosterone, which is essential, it is maintaining the acid-base balance inside our body. So basically, for the effect on hydrogen ion, the increase in the sodium resorption causes the tubular secretion of hydrogen ions and reduces the concentration of hydrogen inside our extracellular fluid, which is present in our body. The effect that is being produced on the extracellular fluid volume, it causes the sodium resorption, through which the net result causes increase in the volume of extracellular fluid without any changes of the concentration of the sodium. The next is the cardiovascular effects. that are associated with aldosterone. That is, it causes increase in the blood pressure. Also, it causes increase in the blood pressure by the vasoconstriction. Along with the angiotensin 2, aldosterone plays a major role in blood coagulation, also in contraction of systemic arterioles and in stimulating the thirst. It is also involved in regulating the inflammatory and the reparative process that follow the tissue injury. The other is the hypertension, as we have discussed that it causes the increase in the blood pressure by the vasoconstriction. Hypertension due to excessive production of deoxycorticosterone. It is in the form of congenital adrenal hyperplasia. Adverse effects that are associated with the mineralocorticoids includes potent sodium retaining and potassium depleting actions, weight gain, edema, hypertension, and hypokalemia. The therapeutic uses associated with the mineralocorticoids includes the treatment, that is the drug which is being used are the fludrocortisone. It is used in the treatment of Addison's disease, first point. Then second is it is used in salt loss in congenital adrenal hyperplasia. It is also used in hyporenemic hypoaldosteronism. It is a chronic kidney disease due to the diabetes mellitus. Several postural hypotension from the autonomic neuropathy of any etiology. Now, other is the hyperaldosteronism. It is of basic two types, that is primary and secondary. Primary, it is also known as Conn syndrome. It is generally due to the edema of the adrenal cortex. The treatment is essentially the surgical, and the spironolactone is generally used for the preparing patient for surgery. The secondary hyperaldosteronism refers to an increased production of aldosterone in response to the activation of the renin-angiotensin system. We have studied about the renin-angiotensin system, that is the production of angiotensin 1, 2. It is basically because of decreased metabolism of aldosterone by the damaged liver. Here also the spironolactone is used for the treatment.